Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Suit Up Geeks podcast. It is Dibs, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to our Mandalorian episode review. Before we get started, though, this is a spoiler review. If you haven't seen the episode, this is your chance. 3, 2, 1. You're still here. Awesome. Thanks for joining. All right. Joining me today is my man, Loretto. You know him on Twitter at Marcellus Durnan. What up, Lo?
How's it going, sir? TGIF. And the weekend couldn't have come soon enough, and we couldn't have come soon enough for another epic episode of The Mandalorian.
Yes, sir. So today we are talking about our top takes, our favorite moments, and then we are going to grade the episode, maybe talk about chapter 12 and see where, no, chapter 11, my bad, and see where it's going to go from here. But let's start off with top takeaways. I'll lead us off. For me personally, I compared season 1 to Skyrim. We saw it in the premiere of season 2. We saw it today. This is Knights of the Old Republic, man. It was a video game series with Skyrim. We're still sticking to that video game route with the Knights of the Old Republic. The Krayt Dragon was ripped straight out of Knights of the Old Republic. And this one, where you see Mando and Baby Yoda and Mr. Frog running away from these ice spiders. I mean, that was a straight up throwback to, I guess, the video game series. It just felt like just that feel of playing Knights of the Old Republic. You ever play that game?
Sir, wasn't that a lady? I believe that was a lady.
Was it? Oh, you're right. Yeah, my bad. Mrs. Frog, my bad. What was one of your takes, man?
Actually, to be fair, this isn't a fresh idea. I saw this on Twitter because people love to spoil things, apparently. Before I watched the episode, I saw someone mention alien vibes.
Yeah.
And, like, that's not a bad thing, but it was definitely a little bit of a retreat, especially with all the eggs. And I thought it was a nice touch, though, because, we love the child. We love Baby Yoda. So to see him in any sort of peril and the little legs cracking out of the eggs, it was very much like being in a nest of face huggers, right?
Totally.
So my sister especially, she's arachnophobic. Myself, I'm okay as long as they're not of a certain size or if they have fur. At that point, then I start to get a little skittish. But I will say it was fun. It was fun, but I think my favorite part about this was seeing the X-Wings in action again.
Yes.
And I remember from the trailer, I geeked out because I was like, ooh, an X-Wing escort. What could this be about? And it's kind of funny that it turned out to be more humorous than it was more adventurous. It was almost like a routine highway patrol stop. Like, hey, what are you doing here? Kind of thing. And they're like, wanted to check if he was Imperial or not. And I thought that was kind of fun. I know, of course, we get the awesome Dave Filoni again. Yeah. Another cameo in the X-Wing. That was badass. The minute he showed his face, I was like, yes, it's the same guy. So season 1, we saw him. Season 2, he's back in action. That's great to see. And that was my favorite part, to be honest. It's yet another creature feature. And I thought, I was expecting more, but we can dig into that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about grades. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. That reveal of Dave Filoni was really sweet, and I was sitting on my recliner writing my review at like 4:30 in the morning, and I was like, man, I'm sitting here writing a review on a TV series with X-Wings, and is there anything better, man? It's like going back to childhood. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. But the negatives that we're hearing a lot is it was another standalone episode. This is 6 more episodes left in season 2. So I see where like people might take that as a negative. For me, that's not a negative, because what I liked about chapter 10, The Passenger, was that they brought back the heart and soul, and that is the chemistry and the dynamic between Baby Yoda and Din Djarin. And there's a lot of really fun moments with Baby Yoda. I thought this is definitely one of the strongest episodes for Baby Yoda, where he's eating all the eggs. And but I have a question for you. Whose fault was it to attract the ice spiders? A lot of people are coming down on Baby Yoda for starting all this crap. Was it Baby Yoda or Mrs. Frog?
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't point the finger at anybody. They're literally in that spider's nest. That cave is probably their home. It actually reminded me of the spiders on Lothal. Or not Lothal. What planet was that in Rebels?
Jesus.
But they established the rebel base on that planet. It's escaping me, but there were spiders on that planet, And if you know anything about spiders, they can be territorial. I mean, that's instinctual. And I don't think that's anybody's fault. I think the fact that they crash landed into that crate, that cave, that cavern, whatever you want to call it, it seems like they already let their presence known. I think it was a matter of time, whether it was in the Razor Crest or in that spa, whatever it was. I think they would have eventually had some trouble with the spiders.
So what spider did it better? Was it Shelob in Lord of the Rings, or was it this massive spider in The Passenger?
I will say this. I mean, I'm a ringer, so I think Shelob was more intimidating and more menacing. However, that big ass spider did throw me for a loop when it came back for a final scare. I thought he was dead, and he started smashing his damn legs through the Razor Crest. I was like, hey, wait a minute. So that was a nice, fun surprise.
Yeah, we touched on the spiders. We talked about the Crate Dragon in the season 1 premiere or season 2 premiere. Like, the budget in season 2 is massive, but I also really enjoyed how the practical effects really were strong in this episode, especially Baby Yoda. To me, like, Baby Yoda is getting more real and real. Like, as we see him, he's getting more animated. I could be totally wrong about this, but it feels like he's getting more vocal. Like, he's starting to make more noises and be louder. Have you picked up on that at all?
100%. I like the way they're treating it. I didn't think he'd still be so baby at this point. I thought he would start to vocalize himself more, but I think maybe we'll probably see that coming later. But yeah, it's the development is very much like a child. I mean, we're both parents, Dive, so you just see those increments from the goo goo gagas eventually turn into like actual attempts at speech, and it'll be kind of fun to see as the child grows.
Imagine like Mando saves Baby Yoda at the end of the season, and Baby Yoda looks up at Din Djarin and goes, "Dada," like something like along those lines. Like, I feel like it's coming because we talked about this ad nauseum. Like, the parenting vibes, the parenting themes, the idea of being a father runs through and through. Like, we saw in the beginning of this episode where Mando exchanges his jetpack, which completed his Mandalorian armor in season 1. Like, he loved that jetpack. I guarantee you, episode 1, season 1 of the Mandalorian, he never would have traded that jetpack for a creature like Baby Yoda. So we've seen this character grow leaps and bounds and leaps and bounds. That was a really cool moment, by the way, though. Like, he knew the whole time, like, he was going to like kill that guy. He flew him up in the air and he fell down. But yeah, the whole episode, especially in the caverns, then you see him protecting Baby Yoda from the spiders. And that's the vibe I'm getting. I think we all kind of expected it. But this is what I love. Even though it was a standalone episode, I love the character development and the fatherhood subplot of Din Djarin and Baby Yoda. Any comments?
No, definitely. I think that was a strong point. And it was just kind of funny how, like, we've all been there where he was just like, I told you not to do that.
Yeah, I know.
And the child literally pops in another egg. Like,
that's part of being a father, like, dealing with the consequences of these little shitheads.
You know what cracked me up though was that scene where the child walks off and discovers the spider eggs. He was like, "Hey, where are you going?" He's like, "What are you doing?" I thought that was just awesome.
I had this joke in my head of like when I was watching like halfway through the episode, like he's eating all these frog eggs, and I'm like, Baby Yoda has great taste. Like, who doesn't like frog eggs? Like, so I would eat a frog egg. And then we get to the spider, and then he ate the spider. I was like, no! Like, man, that was just brutal. So what have we seen Baby Yoda eat? We saw a spider, a frog egg, definitely a frog. I think we saw him eat a frog in season 1. Am I missing anything? Like,
he is quite the carnivore.
Yeah, he is.
No, and then also when they were cooking the dragon meat, he was like, yeah.
All right. Any final? Another major takeaway from this episode was from the rebels when they saved Mando from the giant ice spider and the spiders. Where that took me back to Quill from season 1. They didn't ask for anything in return. It was just straight up kindness, and that kind of brought me back to Quill when Mando was like offering payment and credits and to give him something for for what he was for what he received, and they wanted nothing of it. They were just saying thank you for bringing peace to my valley. Thank you for blah 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 saving and whatever. So I thought that was really interesting. This is really a show about building up Mando's trust of not just droids but aliens and humans and rebels. Like that's where we're kind of leading forward. Any final takes or favorite moments before we talk about grades?
Well, piggybacking right off of that, I love that the X-Wing pilots, because I believe we haven't gotten their names yet, but I love that they were pretty much showing Mando pretty much like, hey, we're not the bad guys here. Yeah. And like they could have left them to die. So I thought that was really cool. They stepped in and were just like, hey, we're just doing our duty. Just answer us when we talk to you. Make sure your transponder's on. It kind of reminds me of like, some people have their own feelings with cops and stuff, but a lot of cops just want to show you like, hey, we're good guys, like kind of like the cops in Superbad. Yeah. They're not all bad guys, and that was kind of cool, showing some heart there from the X-Wing pilots. So
well said. All right, let's go on to grades. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Not as strong as the first episode of season 2, but like you said, it was a standalone episode that I think nailed the dynamic between Din Djarin and Baby Yoda. I thought the ice spiders were really effective. I love how it just flipped like tone from like this like lighthearted. You had some aerial combat that was really fun and some funny moments, and then it just went straight horror. That was kind of cool. But I gave it an 8 out of 10. Yeah. What about you?
I'm not gonna lie. I was really disappointed with this one. Nothing against Jon Favreau, nothing against like their decision making in terms of the pacing of this season. However, I just feel like kind of like how you were with the final season of the Clone Wars. Like, it's like this is like there's only so many episodes here, so this was obviously a filler. And it's just like, okay, there's 6 more. Like, we're running out of time to really show us some nitty gritty. Maybe the last 4 is incredible, and I'll have my foot in my mouth. But I definitely, after like the Boba reveal and just even like the end of season 1 with Moff Gideon, we still like are just left hanging, not knowing where is this going. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. The creature work was fantastic. I thought Peyton Reed did a decent job with just giving us an entertaining episode on its own. But at the same time, it kind of felt like a retreat of the first episode. It's just like a creature feature, almost felt like a B-movie style monster attack. And it's like, I just feel like this show could be so much more than, hey, here's a creature, Mando has to fight it. It just felt a little bit of a retreat of the first episode. And it's not like we haven't seen Mando fight a creature before. He fought the Mudhorn, and he got chased down by that ice monster in the season 1 premiere. So it's like, the creature thing, I think they're kind of beating a dead horse at this point. So I'm going to be a little bit more harsh. I'm leaning more towards like a 7. And that's solely based on the interaction between the child and Mando and the awesome X-Wing pilots. So
that's really interesting you said that, because like my take from the premiere of season 2 was that I was a little worried that it was actually getting too big. I was a little worried that they're going to start introducing too much and utilizing the Mandalorian season 2 as like the crux, as the device to kind of start implementing Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, or just make this massive Star Wars universe for Disney Plus and other series moving forward. And we saw that in the premiere when they got away from Mando and Baby Yoda and that dynamic. So I was actually like happy in this episode, the passenger, to see them get back to the nuts and bolts, the blood and sweat that makes the Mandalorian so special, at least to me. A quick nod though to Peyton Reed, who directed Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and you saw her in that cantina. What was her name? Oh my gosh, what was her name? The woman in Mos Eisley.
I know. No, it's funny because she's made like 3 appearances now, and I still don't recall her name either.
Peli Motto. It was sitting in a booth where Han Solo was sitting, and she was sitting next to a giant ant. And it was like really, really like a funny moment when I didn't even know Peyton Reed directed this until I saw the credits, and I was like, "Oh, the ant! That makes complete sense." And of course, he would direct the one with the bugs. So I thought that was kind of a funny
I
thing.
just realized like that was an ant, wasn't it? Like it was straight up an ant. That is awesome. And actually, can I say one more thing? If we're gonna just go back to moments real quick, because this is fresh in my mind. I really was hoping, and this actually affects my grade as well. I was hoping we would kind of get to their destination, at least at the end of the episode, and we could possibly see these Mandalorians that her husband supposedly knows. That would have been cool. But what I did enjoy though was our final send off was like, all right, the Razor Crest is like falling apart as they start floating away helplessly. And I love how the very last thing we see is the child pops in one more egg. One more egg for the road. I was just like, good Lord. Like, this is like the last of their species. She's talking about extinction, and he's over here like popping them like cheese puffs. Like,
doesn't give an F. And neither did the mother. Like the mother did not know that like she's losing like a dozen of her offspring. Like, what's going on here? Like I feel like the entire episode, Baby Yoda was getting egg after egg after egg and didn't really affect Mrs. Frog.
I think as long as her bloodline lives on, I'm sure like maybe like they're like roaches. They just reproduce in mass. So
I guess so. All right, plugs. Anything you want to plug, man?
I mean, we've been plugging it for the past week now, but just make sure you guys tune in to the Movies Matrix YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at Movies Matrix. Follow the Down the Rabbit Hole podcast at Movies Matrix Pod. We are doing our action movie draft, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, Saturday and Sunday. 2 separate drafts, 10 teams. Drafting the best action movies. It's going to be epic. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I can't wait to just smash Dive's squad because he's talking about making the best team ever, but not if I have anything to say about it. So we'll see how it plays out.
I love it. Have you started your rankings yet?
I'll be fair, I haven't. And actually, I was doing a marathon starting last week, but it's been kind of like fizzling out. I've just been so busy with work, but luckily I've got some OT tomorrow where I can probably sneak in a movie or two. So I got some contenders, man. It's gonna be fun to see how it plays out for me because depending on what I watch tomorrow, what I'm watching is definitely in the running for one of my first 3 picks.
Okay,
and it's one of those ones that I've missed, but I know people are gonna be gunning for it. So if I can get it first, that's my goal.
I think I know where you're going. I think I know where you went with that. I think I won't say it. I won't say it. But you're going Sunday night. I am doing the Saturday night draft, which is 10 teams on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Loretto's in the Sunday night draft. So 20 teams will be in a single elimination bracket that you can vote for your favorite collection of 6 action movies. Just my one last final thought here, Loretto. I started ranking mine and I got to like 35. This is like animated movie level of ranking. It's really hard. So my only advice is definitely give yourself some time to kind of like give yourself a break and then come back to it. Because I was exhausted last night. I was exhausted.
Just to give you a little clue in, because I have a feeling like there's nothing I can do to keep you from taking movies I love. But what I will say is I don't have my rankings yet. But what I am doing is I'm doing different tiers, or not tiers, genres. So
nice.
Like maybe an 80s bracket, maybe like a 90s bracket, maybe like a buddy cop bracket. I'm going to have those. And if I can at least get one of each and build a balanced team, that would be awesome.
I like it.
So we'll see how that plays out.
So where I'm screwed is I have the 9th pick, but my buddy Ryan has the 8th pick. He knows me better than anybody. He has the 8th pick right before me. He knows me to a T of exactly what I'm going to take. And then it's me. And then my wife goes right after me and has back-to-back picks.
Would you say like Ryan has a way of like just sticking it to you just to do it? You think he'll 100%. Take a movie just to piss you off?
100%.
That's awesome.
No doubt. No,
I don't envy you.
It's going to be fun, man. All right. Check that out at Movies Matrix on Twitter and Movies Matrix on YouTube. Tomorrow night, Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Going to be so much fun. Follow my man Loretto on Twitter at Marcellus Durnan. I am Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.
Peace out.